Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Wednesday, August 13, 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed and we've got a packed show for you today. So first up, this Abu Dhabi HR expert is warning against including the Nafis allowance in salary packages. And secondly, in this really surprising turn, I know that everyone is probably wondering what is the cost of Georgina's engagement ring, but we actually went into the founders that are behind her engagement nail look. And thirdly, Mubadala Capital Ventures joins a $30 million funding round for U.S. Biotech Tahoe Therapeutics. And finally, Binghatti Holdings' $500 million Sukuk debuts strong on the London Stock Exchange.
The very first story for today is a very interesting conversation. An Abu Dhabi-based HR professional has raised concerns over employers, including the UAE Nafis allowance in advertised salaries. They stressed that Nafis is not part of companies' budgets, is not guaranteed indefinitely, and cannot be used for loan calculations.
So the Nafis program, launched in 2021, aims to increase Emirati employment by supplementing salaries in the private sector. So however, some companies misuse this by inflating salary offers, misleading candidates, and distorting the job market.
And experts warn that misrepresenting pay with Nafis risks fines, loss of government support, and reputational harm for companies. Transparent base salaries are vital for fair recruitment and maintaining trust between employers and candidates.
And with growing social media reports of Nafis misuse, calls for stricter oversight and intensify. Now, industry voices urge firms to clearly separate government incentives from base pay and job offers to protect the program's integrity.
And the Nafis pays a lot of money to a lot of Emiratis. The UAE targets 75,000 private sector Emirati jobs by 2025. Clear rules and enforcement are essential to ensure Nafis supports Emirati talent fairly without replacing genuine employer compensation.
Right,
Argument
but like,
is very valid.
I do agree. But like, what actually happened here? You know, why is this HR lady from Abu Dhabi coming and saying that, you know, these employers are distorting the job market? So it's because of the fact that, you know, you have this Nafis allowance. And just for you guys to know, Nafis is not just eligible for Emiratis that are working. It's actually eligible for those who are unemployed. So I completely understand her point in the sense of, how are you going to promise me a salary and bump up the number based on an application that I have to go out of my way to do? Because I don't think your employer will be the one that will apply for Nafis for you. I don't believe so. So it doesn't make sense whatsoever.
The main thing is that if they're offering you a 10,000 salary, and if you go and look at it, they'll break it down. So in UAE, it's very common, whatever salary they give you, they break it down into parts. There's base salary, there's transport allowance, there's phone allowance, this allowance, housing allowance. These are like some of the common things that you get in your salary. So they just break it down. It's also a very nice way of making your base salary a little less. Everyone does it. The idea is that they're writing 10,000, but they're not giving you 10,000. They're giving you 5,000, 6,000. And the remaining, they're saying, oh, you'll get it through the Nafis program. So actually,
that is unfair.
Yeah, and so that is something that you get from the government for being an Emirati, not you as an organization. So she has pointed out an irony which a lot of companies are exploiting. So I think she's very, how would I say, justified in saying this. She also shared a lot of other examples where people are complaining, Emiratis are complaining on LinkedIn. I saw her profile. She recently came to LinkedIn, very new profile, but it was a nice thing to say, and it's out there. And I have realized that Emiratization targets, they're very important for the UAE government. They want the Emirati people to be a part of the workforce, the private workforce, because we see them a lot in government jobs. But they want them to be a part of the private sector as well, because private sector is like nearly 90% of the money-making machine when it comes to SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. So it should be
And
Makes a point. She makes a
and
point.
just to add in,
Yeah.
for an Emirati, I believe, to be eligible for the Nafis program, you have to be making under 30,000
Yeah.
dirhams, I believe. And they also take a look at it in terms of, are you a high school student? Are you getting your degree? And I just think with this entire topic, you know what it brings? You know what conversation it really brings in, Majid? Contrary to popular belief, not all Emiratis are rich. I understand that, this is a country, we know it's attracting 9,000 millionaires a year. You see all of the Khalijis shopping in Fashion Avenue in Dubai Mall. Yes, they do. They love luxury. This society really does love luxury, and that's something very beautiful. But I think what ends up happening to some people here is that they're not a part of that upper class. Not everyone is a part of that upper class.
Not everyone owns a Lamborghini, right?
Exactly. Not everyone owns a Lamborghini and a Bentley. And it's like when this is why this Nafis program is here, and this is why it exists. And you know what, Majid? Honestly, I am so here for the UAE creating a program like this that I know that for some people, like if you're making like 15K, even 10K, 20K, like that is great, like that is heaven for you. But I think the fact that they put this program in place and, leave Emiratis eligible who are making under 30K, they're giving them that opportunity at wealth that a lot of Emiratis in this country have. And, for some, it was just a part of their ancestry. But my point here is to say that her bringing this up, it's so interesting because you know what I honestly think happens with employers here sometimes, and it's not just with locals, by the way. I think it's just with like the general population, is that like, companies like might bring in an intern, they might bring in someone new for the job, and they will underpay them, and they will try to like, at the least threshold that they can, just because in their mind they're like, ugh, their parents are probably doing great. These kids are not struggling. They're living in Dubai. If they lived in Dubai, grew up in Dubai, then, we don't need to give them that much money. No, honestly, like I had a discussion with young people my age about this where it's like, there's almost this like misconception that we're all just spoiled kids and that like our parents give us allowances and, for that reason, you'd have employers who are underpaying young people, but that is not always the case. Just because people live in Dubai, I think this is probably the worst thing, is people think that just because you live in Dubai that you're rich, especially your extended family who live abroad. Like whenever they see you, like they expect something crazy because you live in Dubai. So that should mean that you are, you're ultimately
by default rich.
Exactly, but it's not true. It's literally not true.
Have to work really hard. The good thing is that not everyone is rich, but this city, this country gives you an opportunity, to be honest.
Sure.
In the morning, we're doing the Love in Dubai show. Usually it's Worth that does it, but I don't know. Today, I landed in that seat. Very weird experience. I think after we were discussing, me and Worth, it was a discussion that it's very different show. You can be good at anchoring and doing a show, but you can't be good at doing all kinds of shows. Right? You're good at a certain thing.
No, I think you can be good at everything.
You can be a jack of all trades, but I think having one mastery is important. I think with me, it's Smashi Business Show. I love to discuss all these things. But yeah, coming back to Nafis, so graduates, fresh graduates, up to 8K. So even if the company is paying 8K, they get a top-up of 8K. That's the highest level. Then 5K for already existing employees. So if an Emirati employee you're working in a private company under 30, you get 5K because you're already working and maybe have gotten promotions and everything. The thing is, it's not just top-up on salaries, it's pension subsidies. So you get a lot of good pension money, child allowances while working in the private sector.
Probably even retirement. Like they do probably support you in that.
You think of all these things when you're working for a government or a government company or government, and you get all of this through the Nafis program for Emiratis, even working in a private sector job. So I don't know why not all the countries in the world are doing this. Every country should have some plan for their people. I know Emirates, UAE is a very distinct example in the world where the locals are less and the expat population, the residents are more. It's not a case anywhere in the world nearly. Canada, to an extent, was there, but now they've been naturalized as Canadian citizens, so they get all the rights the same. But it's just one of the examples. But no one is saying just give up 10,000, 20,000 to people, but at least have a welfare system in place in every country in the world.
Look, honestly, Majid, like in this moment where you tell me this, I'm just so jealous of people like Pavel Durov, Kevin O'Leary, who got the Emirati passport. Can you think of more, by the way? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of
Lulu owner, Yusuf Ali, he is.
Wow. So I also
Who
heard
else
that
is?
there's this Sudanese billionaire. I won't name him,
Yeah.
but
A lot of
he
them
has a
get it.
company that trades in Abu Dhabi, and apparently he also has a passport.
Yeah.
Do you think they can pass it on to their children? By the way,
I think they can. Depends if the male person in the family has the passport. I remember the marriage rules changed because if you marry an Emirati man as a woman, you get a passport. But if you, as a man, marry an Emirati woman, you don't get the passport now. But when it comes to people having passports, they can pass it on to the next generation. So that's a good thing. So yeah, do something great, and the country will give you a national citizenship, a passport,
Right.
very nice passport.
like
helps
have
you go.
an IPO like the Lulu hypermarket
Yeah.
one. That
Do something
just
great.
absolutely smashed it.
I remember this lady, what was her name? Blonde,
Blondie.
Supergirl Blondie, yeah. She was talking about tax, but during that video, there was one very interesting part which I think a lot of people missed because they were focusing on tax. It's very highlightable that you come to this country, they actually want you to succeed. Because you come, you succeed, you make money, you actually make money for the government. You add to the GDP, you add to the overall numbers of the government as well. So they will push you to do great things. Obviously, it's not a good, easy market to enter. But if you enter and if you can make a product or sell a product, go into retail, manufacturing, whichever industry you pick, eventually they make it easier for you to make money because not that they will take all the money in taxes, because
Right.
you do great, the country does great eventually because all that money goes to the GDP.
And
adds
eventually
up.
the GCC does great.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that domino effect. And
Yeah.
I think that we really saw that with the Indian billionaire Yusuf Ali.
Yeah.
You know, just right after his IPO, he opened more stores in Saudi. And it's like...
He's doing great.
He is doing great. And just to move on to our second topic of the day. So Georgina, after I believe 8 years or 9 years, has finally gotten engaged to Ronaldo, and it's interesting because you have everyone wondering about how much does that ring cost. But it was actually a Saudi salon run by these Saudi cousins, Mashal, Alisa, and Hind Al-Ajlan. That basically their salon got her nails done, and the salon's name is Boon. It's a Riyadh-based salon brand, and they styled the nails for her engagement. And the reason why this story is so big because it's a homegrown brand.
Yeah. And I think, forgot to turn I was looking at something, but yeah, it's established in 2020. Based in Boon, now runs 3 branches in Riyadh, hosts an annual pop-up event in Al-Ula. Al-Ula is the new cool place in Saudi Arabia. If you're going to Saudi and you've seen everything, Riyadh, Jeddah, etc., if you're bored of that, go to Al-Ula. Very nice place. Hence, skill as an esthetician combined with Mashal's business expertise. Nice combination. I need that kind of a cousin as well to bring innovative nail art to Saudi Arabia.
So the brand's role in Georgina's engagement look highlights Saudi Arabia's booming beauty industry, which is reportedly valued at $4.6 billion in 2024, and it's expected to grow 3.7% annually through 2033.
And Basin Boon's international spotlight signals the kingdom's rising influence in fashion and beauty. The cousin's entrepreneurial spirit showcases growing demand for premium nail artistry and innovative beauty services in the region.
Look, I think, with this specific story, first of all, because I know that a lot of people want to know this, Georgina's ring is estimated to be around $3 million to $35 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a big window. 3 million to 35 million.
Listen, I
Wow.
was reading the Times of India, okay?
yeah.
And then Tobias Cormand, who, by the way, from 77 Diamonds, I interviewed on Smashi Business, actually basically came to say that he estimates that this diamond is around 35 carats. So that is big. Look, to be honest with you, I am not here for this ring. I think it looks really tacky. But look, for all the years that Ronaldo made her wait, my sister deserves it. I am happy for her. This is a good asset. This is a good asset to have sitting there. I think she's probably going to need to hire bodyguards to, walk around with that ring, to walk around with the ring. But like just on like generally about this story of Base and Boon, this is what I'm saying. A lot of Gulf people, they love luxury. Yeah. And I think that's exactly what Base and Boon stands for. You have these Saudi cousins, they were living abroad and they noticed something, that there's so many luxury services, especially in places like Harrods in England. But, they noticed that and they went back to Saudi and they noticed this same service is not provided here. We need to make that, that upper class space for Saudi people. And that's what they did. And, that's why they have Georgina getting her engagement nails done there. But it's not just these Saudi cousins that are doing this. I remember there was a story that I covered about this influencer, but she's also a founder. Her name is Yara Al-Namla. And basically she has this holding company, Majid, called When Minds Meet. Oh. Now, When Minds Meet has so many brands under it. They have Moon Glaze, they have So Matcha, and I believe she even has a salon. But this girl, Yara Al-Namla, she's important not because she's a famous Saudi influencer who represents the Saudi industry, who represents Saudi women, but it's an important business because, by the way, her business, Moon Glaze, it's a makeup brand. Nice. It was the first Saudi brand to debut in Selfridges, London.
Nice.
Yes, and she even did like an entire campaign. Before Huda Beauty did it, she did an entire campaign where she had like these cars going around London and they had like the brand, the entire branding stamped on it. Like it was a really good campaign. So, these young ladies that are coming out of Saudi, doing all of this, like they're contributing to this 2030 vision. I know that we're always talking about that typical viewpoint of, Aramco, oil, neon project, but it's these projects that are really going to add to, the entertainment industry, the tourism industry. When people actually come and live in the country, these are the places that they're going to frequent.
Yeah, it's going to be a place where they'll be like, oh, I need my engagement nails done from the place where Georgina does it. Like it's a whole thing in Hollywood, right? You go to places.
Did a pretty good advertisement for them, by the way.
Yeah, they should be thankful. They shared the story. They're very nice people. They shared the story. They were. The main thing I've realized, I think I told you about it. One of my friends recently moved from Amazon Saudi to Dubai, and he gave me this example. And even now, it makes more sense with these brands. He said that the Lux Beauty category in Saudi Amazon wasn't doing well. And he was taken from Dubai to Saudi to handle luxury beauty. And he's like, he didn't do, obviously he alone isn't the one who did it, but he's like, we grew the category nearly 100% from what they were doing when I went there. And he was like, I saw this market trend that Saudi spending has become more. Saudis usually before they were spending on perfumes, that's what he says, inside numbers. He's like, they were spending on perfumes, they were spending on abayas, they were spending on all that, but they were not spending on luxe cosmetics. But then he was like, something changed. And I think you can make it connect with the rise of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, his policies in giving women more empowerment, more chances to go to join corporate, more chances to go into jobs, to drive. One of the most important things. So I think that opened the door for multinationals to go there. Then there's this rule of you should have a regional headquarters in Saudi, so that everyone has to open an office to get a government contract. That opened more jobs. So more money flowing into Saudi Arabia. So obviously, what do you do with the money?
Yeah.
You spend it somewhere, and then these are the avenues: luxury cosmetics and doing nails from a nice place.
And we saw it with Nice One. So basically, Nice One, it's this beauty e-commerce platform, and basically their IPO, I believe it had over 41 billion orders, and they're valued at over $300 million. But they did really great. But I think what really honestly contributed to the entire ecosystem of Saudi is the fact that they brought in all those players. Like, I'm not really trying to talk sports here, but what I'm trying to say is, when you have someone like Cristiano Ronaldo living in Saudi Arabia, someone like Neymar, I'm not sure if he moved out already.
He's moved.
But
Back to Brazil.
when you have Benzema, when you have all of these people
Yeah.
living in Saudi, and you have them making as much money as they do, I believe with Ronaldo, he got offered equity
In the company, in the Al Nassr Football Club, 5%.
yeah.
That was reported first this year when
I
he.
heard 15%,
No, no,
Majid.
5% was when he signed last year. This
Right.
year, no news
Okay.
came out of if he has been given extra equity.
And I believe
But-
they even gave him like a really large sum to even actually sign, and his yearly salary is like it's obscene.
Millions.
But it's my point to say here is when you have high net worth individuals like that who are living in Saudi, you're going to want to accommodate to their wives, to their children, because because that's the way that they're going to be stationed there, And I just it's so interesting, but it's like I know a lot of people we never discuss this, but that a lot of people are gutted that Ronaldo came to Saudi. That a lot of
Why?
these, because think of it like this, in their minds they're thinking, oh my God, European football is like over for us. They don't get that. They don't get that nostalgia anymore. No, seriously,
Yeah.
they don't get that. You have Messi all the way in America, Ronaldo's in Saudi. It's not that that playoff of Barca and Real Madrid anymore. That like it's not the old days. And so these players moving to Saudi. In the end of the day, why not? Turki Al Sheikh said it. This is changing everything for Saudi.
Yes.
When people see big players like that there, more people are going to go there. So.
And the historian writes the history of all this, the Saudi Vision 2030. They will obviously mention Ronaldo. And with that, they will obviously mention all the other players that came and make it big. And a lot of are still coming. Darwin Núñez, the Liverpool striker, he's joined it. He's a big name. He joined from a winning club, Liverpool. So it's just mind-boggling to see that how Saudi's plan is actually working out and how a lot of people are
Even
not...
though some people may not like it.
A lot of people don't like it, that part of the world, because obviously when any economy grows, it takes the money away. We've seen a lot of millionaires moving to UAE, more billionaires coming up in Saudi.
Yeah.
So the capital is moving towards this region and people hate it.
And this region is also investing abroad, though. So with continued investment, Mubadala's capital venture arm, Mubadala Capital Ventures, has participated in a $30 million funding round for Tahoe Therapeutics, a U.S.-based biotech startup. So the round was led by Amplify Partners with participation from Databricks Ventures, Wing Venture Capital, and General Catalyst.
And Tahoe Therapeutics, I always listen to this Tahoe, and I remember that scary movie, Wrong Turn at Tahoe. But yeah, Tahoe Therapeutics will use the funds to expand its therapeutic programs and choose a strategic partner from the pharma or AI sectors. This partnership aims to leverage Tahoe's next generation cell database for advanced drug discovery.
So founded in 2022 by Hani Gudarzi, Kevin Shokat, and Johnny Yu, Tahoe develops AI-powered virtual models of human cells. Now, its platform seeks to compile 1 billion single-cell data points to enable more precise treatments, including targeted cancer drugs. Oh, yeah, we need that.
Yeah, and Mubadala has been actively growing its healthcare investments. Earlier this year, it led a $200 million round for biotech startup 10V Therapeutics and acquired Julfar's Biotech, the GCC's only insulin API plant compliant with EU and USA FDA standards.
There's more. So the firm also expanded its portfolio with acquisitions of Global Medical Supply Chain, Al Ittihad Drugstore, and multiple biopharma assets from Yas Holdings, signaling Mubadala's strong commitment to the healthcare and biotech sector. But much more than that, it's signaling their commitment to the U.S.
Yeah.
Just not very long ago, we had Khaldoon Al-Mubarak, the group CEO of Mubadala, come and sit in the U.S. and say that Mubadala has over 40% investments in the U.S. and clearly that number is going up.
Yeah, 100%. Mubadala, the most important thing that I see, every day they're doing something. They're so active. Like you see PIF news every now and then, you see ADIA news now and then, but Mubadala, nearly every week you see something being done by them. It's just they're so active. I think last year they also got the most active fund spot that they were more active than PIF, which is like, I think, double their value. On Mubadala's site, on Mubadala's section, it says $330 billion. But I think they've grown past that. They've gone to at least 400. But PIF is a $1 trillion giant, and they are less active than this. So it's very important. And I just don't know. I feel that whenever you talk about UAE and Abu Dhabi, the richest city in the world, because of its sovereign wealth funds, I think now, if anyone asks me, I would say, yeah, Mubadala. So if I had to bet my money, I would bet on Mubadala. ADIA is good. ADIA is good in the sense that they've done long-term investments, so that is getting them a lot of money. But activity-wise, I think Mubadala is doing great.
But like Majid, like, isn't this so crazy though? This company called Tahoe, like what they do, they're basically building AI models of the human cell.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even look? I can't
It's a
even
digital twin.
I can't even imagine it, and the fact that that's gonna help, people find precise drugs.
Have you seen Iron Man movies or like movies
I
where
have.
someone does this and something
I found
becomes
out,
big?
oh my God, check this out. This is so crazy. But I found out that the Pentagon in America was basically a part of making Iron Man. I'm not sure about Iron Man.
Because the way
so
they
that's
explain the
accurate.
science in those movies, it's actually doable. Most probably after like 5 years, you will see some Iron Man suit, someone flying, right?
Really?
I think 10 years ago, I never thought I'll see a flying taxi. We are going to see a flying taxi soon. So technology always works fast. What was I saying? The main idea is that what you were talking about, how do they do it? You create a digital twin.
Yeah.
The idea of digital twins for us media people is very simple. You take a picture of mine or a video of mine doing the different movements, mouth movements, and you just make a digital twin, and then you make them say anything you want. They can act like me, do whatever. I will physically won't have to do anything. The models that we talked about, that they're using digital models now, or they just take a picture from a model and they just use it everywhere else now in different poses. They don't need the actual model to be there. With biotech, you can do that at cellular level. So we know a construction of a cell, a human cell, that there's ribosomes, there's this nucleus, blah, blah, blah. They create a whole cell in a digital form, and then they test every drug, every medicine that you take is chemical, right? So they test it on those digital cells. So now you take out the human element. You have to do human testing. Before that, you have to do animal testing. You have to get 100 million approvals before you can give a drug to a human. Now they're using AI to build something where they won't need humans. They can actually test it on a digital human twin cell.
I think a lot of people will be happy that, they won't be testing on animals, I guess, anymore.
100%. I love this part of AI. A lot of people have problems with AI taking jobs, but medically, AI is going to help you a lot, because soon enough, you will see some of the drugs or some of the medicines come out which which couldn't even be imagined for diseases which were thought of uncurable. So that way, AI is really, really going to do great.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And something that's really doing great right now, a company that's doing great, is Binghatti Holding. So one of the UAE's fastest growing real estate developers celebrated the debut of its $500 million 5-year senior unsecured Sukuk on the London Stock Exchange. So the issuance was oversubscribed 5 times, attracting over $2.5 billion from global investors.
And priced at a profit rate of 8.125%. So invest 100,000 and you get $8,000 out of it. The Sukuk issuance reflects strong investor confidence in Benghatti's financial strength. The company holds a BB minus rating from Fitch and Ba3 from Moody's, both with stable outlooks. The Sukuk will also list on Nasdaq Dubai.
So Chairman Mohammed Binghatti highlighted the listing as a major milestone that expands Benghatti's global capital access. So CEO Katralanada Binghatti noted nearly half of Sukuk allocations went to non-GCC investors, underscoring Benghatti's growing international recognition.
And Benghatti's strong first half of 2025 saw net profit triple to AED 1.82 billion, with sales hitting AED 8.8 billion. Revenue soared 189% year-on-year to AED 6.3 billion. The group launched 7 new projects last year, and delivered 5 developments during this period.
And the company holds a revenue backlog of 12.5 billion dirhams and a development portfolio valued over 70 billion dirhams. It recently acquired a 9 million square feet megaplot in Nadishiba 1 to build its first master plan community valued at over 25 billion dirhams. And I think when you take a look, especially at the location of Nadishiba, usually what happens in Nadishiba is you have like big families buying homes there and, you know, building their own plot, choosing the home. But the fact that they've gone after this idea of building a community, especially in Nadishiba, that's actually really special. I am so sorry to Katral Nada Binghatti. I hope I've said your name now. But I think, you know, with this, it's great to see because just recently we saw how Binghatti, they opened their first grand office in Knightsbridge to attract more, you know, English investors. But I think it's almost interesting that this comes at a time like the juxtaposition really plays out here because you have all of the English billionaires coming to the UAE and then you have the UAE's billionaires going to the English and trying to accommodate for them there, making sure that, you know, they're really selling to them this idea of Dubai.
The idea is you invest in a London property. I'll give you a very simple example. For example, you have $100,000, just say, let's say 1 million. You have 1 million, you go to London, the best place ever in London, you buy a property, hardly you'll get a studio. Very hardly, very difficult, impossible, but maybe. In $1 million in Dubai, you can get a very nice apartment in a very posh area. And it is not going to be a studio, it's going to be most probably at least a 2 BHK. Whereas $1 million is nearly, what, $3.5–4 million? I think you can get a good villa in Ras Al Khaimah, Ajman, and you can get a good apartment in a good place. Arabian Ranches, I don't think it's that cheap, but you can get a good apartment, at least a small villa in Dubai. So why would you invest there? Obviously, so these people, all our developers, they understand it. The Mac understands it. Binghatti understands it. All of them understand that those people are now under so much pressure, taxes, this, that, blah, over supply of places and more expensive apartments. So value for money is bad when you invest in the luxury points in London, Hong Kong, Singapore. Dubai compared gives you safety, security, good infrastructure, everything that those countries promise.
Imagine,
good life also.
We always bring up this argument of taxes, but it's like if you actually think about it, with the kind of permits that you have to pay for here, you know, you have to, when you're opening a business, you have to get a license. Apparently now, if you're a content creator, you have to get a permit. You know, all of these permits, if you actually add up the cost, I mean,
it's not that much.
It's that's true. It's still not like tax, but I think that the UAE, the kind of systems that they have, they do it in a way where even if they're actually charging you, you don't notice. You don't notice that much.
It's not that much. Like a very simple, very plain, a very small business idea where you get 3 visas to hire anyone from anywhere in the world. That's like 10 to 12,000 dirhams. And dollar terms is $3,000 for establishing a company. I don't think you can establish a business in the US for $3,000. So it's easy to get a license. You get a license. Sharjah, I think last year when Sharjah some event happened, not the Entrepreneurship Forum, there was another event where now taking a business license is a 15-minute job. You just scan all the stuff and tuck, and you get a business license. So your business license is registered. Now go and figure out your infrastructure or shop, anything. So they've made it so simple. And it's not at all expensive. Obviously, when you start a business, you have a cost. But compared to a lot of other places, it's very less. That is why everyone wants to set up a business there. And even if they don't have like a physical infrastructure, like a physical office or something, they still want to register it here.
Yeah. And we saw that with Nafis, you know, Nafis living all the way in Italy, but his family office, NNS, is in Abu Dhabi. I think that's just really funny. He's probably having online days.
I have to realize it's very smart from UAE and to an extent Saudi now as well. And the good thing is they had a whole like 50, 60 year data of how US, Europe have worked throughout those years. They know the business establishment numbers. They know how much it costs. to be honest, I don't think it's an accident. It's an actual planned thing where they were like, okay, if you open a business in US, the cost for getting a license is $10,000. We'll bring it down to 3,000. So it's an actual thing where
Right.
you actually looked at all the world where business hubs are. And they're like, we have to make it cheaper,
Yeah.
but we have to make it better.
Oh, this is a
And
good
that
way
is
to
a
think
very
about it.
complicated combination to have. You can buy a 1 dirham chocolate
And-
and you can buy a
And
lint
you know,
expensive
Majid,
one.
not
or the white
just that,
chocolate.
but I think the fact that, you know, you have these people, all of these billionaires that are stationed
Yeah.
here, you know, running all of these businesses abroad, wherever they are, it's honestly telling you that these billionaires, this concept is so important. They're not actually doing everything. They're managing everything. They're outsourcing talent. They're making sure that they have a good team to actually do all of
Yeah.
this. Because, you know, how could I leave my family office in Abu Dhabi and just live all the way in Italy?
Yeah.
You know, you'll just find me having a beautiful holiday in Rome, then I'm in Milan,
Yeah.
and then I call in, I'm like, guys, are we doing great? Like, how can they actually do that? It's not
Yeah.
because they're not doing any work or because they're just leading everything and they're so good at balancing everything. It's because they are outsourcing a good team, good talent, good employees, because you can only do something like this if you have good leadership.
To be honest, a lot of people may question this comment, but talent is also cheaper in UAE compared to US, Hong Kong, and Singapore.
That is
it's
true.
cheaper, right?
It is.
Talent is also cheaper because everyone wants to move here right now because the visa process is easier. I can't go to US and work there very easily. Indians can't, Sri Lankans can't, Bangladeshis can't, Nepal. That whole Far East that they call, after looking at that Egyptian intellectuals video, I have a problem with Middle East and Far East now also. She said it was in relation to London. Maybe I will come up with a new term for it. But the idea is that talent is also cheaper. So you get good talent at a cheaper rate that you'll get in the US. So why not? Give me an option, give me unlimited amount of money, even right now, and tell me to set up a business. I will do it in UAE, maybe Saudi Arabia. I have a Arabic restriction. It's very Arabized, Saudi Arabia. But I would definitely set up a business right now. Maybe I'll go to Qatar. Very big, small population, very big amount of capital sitting just to be invested. So it's a very nice place to be right now.
It
But
is.
yeah.
And that's a wrap for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashi Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all social media channels at Smashi Business and stay ahead with our daily newsletter. You'll find the subscription link in the description.
This has been a Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 2.5 million monthly listeners. We're trying to get them up. Please help us. And if you're one of them who is sharing our content and liking our content and commenting, we've got a lot of comments. We surely read them and love your feedback. So if you're one of them, just know that we appreciate you. Have a great day. We'll see you on Thursday now.